See, this is the thing. I
People
feel like,
love...
Can I start by saying women?
Yeah. Hello and welcome to Footnotes, the stories that won't make the history books because they don't matter. My name is Emily and I am your host for this week, and every week after that. Welcome to this week's episode. Horny Chefs, a comprehensive history.
I'm here too.
Shut up, you're not in yet. Let me introduce you. All right. This week it's very exciting. We have our first ever guest, a very special guest. Do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Sam.
This is Sam.
Hi.
What?
It's a pleasure to be here. I'm honoured.
Awesome. You should be
a guest on not only on a podcast but on your podcast. I think is especially memorable, and
make sure you're facing the microphones that you talk. It's bad microphone technique.
I received my statements.
Yeah.
It's no longer an honour to be on this podcast.
So
already getting berated by the host.
This week's episode, Sam, is of course on horny chefs. What are your qualifications on this topic?
I'm not a chef, but I do like to cook, and I am horny. So
amazing. You also have your own series, Cooking with Sam.
I do not. This is not
to
a,
Sam Fonteyn's Instagram story.
Do not. This is not a plug. This is not a plug.
Not a plug.
I really enjoy cooking. Honestly, I think
And you also enjoy being horny.
Yeah, I love being horny. I love cooking, and I think that there is definite overlap between the two. I feel like there is an inherent sexuality in food and food prep. So I'm trying not to look at you, but it's tough not to. But I'm trying to practice. This guy. I'm trying to practice good microphone technique here.
Excellent. All
Can
right.
I just express how dark it is in here?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
It's light on this camera.
It's light on the camera, but it's like pitch black.
Yeah, it's a studio. It's my studio.
Your studio is really dark.
Thank you. Okay. It's my studio. It's my studio, and then in brackets, my sister's bedroom. In brackets again, she doesn't live here anymore. For now. Anyway, before we start this week's episode, I have some more very exciting news. Not only do we have our first guest ever this week,
that's me, by the way,
but we also have our first ever sponsorship. This week's episode, I'm very happy to say, is sponsored by my mate Xavier. Everyone say thank you, Xavier.
Thank you, Xavier.
Thank you, Xavier.
Guys, we're officially in profit.
We're officially, no, because I had to buy a second microphone for this episode, so
we're
I think
officially
we're now
in gross profit.
In gross profit, we are in profit.
We have made money.
Xavier would like to say this: shout out International Trans Visibility Day, which was on Monday.
Nice.
It just passed. Look out for community and remember to find joy. They then said some gay shit like that. They also said to say, fuck you, Gerald. So any Geralds out there? Fuck you.
Fuck you, Gerald.
Fuck you, Gerald.
Terrible name.
Whoa. You're going to alienate my audience. You come on here and you...
Good.
Anyway, thank you so much, Xavier. Xavier sent me $10, and in exchange, I said I would say anything. And you can too. I've decided after several drunk people told me they would be interested in this offer. If you send me $10, I will give you a shout out on future episodes. I will say anything. If you want to shout out a cause, if you want to shout out your Instagram,
we platform everything here.
We will platform. If you want me to slander someone, I'll do that. I draw the line at slurs. I will not say slurs except ones that I'm allowed to say,
which is all of them.
No. There's most of them I'm not allowed
Emily
to say.
actually said explicitly that she can say all the slurs.
No.
Send her
but
money.
Link in the description. I'm gonna get a Ko-fi. Send me money for $10. Get in now because when this podcast blows up, you will that offer it's gonna go.
We're gonna bump that shit up.
That's gonna get bumped up, and you better be.
It's gonna be $12. It's
gonna be $12, and you better be. That's gonna happen soon because we're going places. My dad listened to the first episode for the first time less than a week ago.
Shout out your dad.
So the podcast is going places. With that being said, should we get started on the episode now?
Yeah, let's make some.
Let's
horny,
get cracking.
Okay.
Let's get horny. The thing that I would like to discuss with you today, Sam, is horny chefs. We're going to talk about some horny chefs throughout history. And by history, I mean the last couple of years, specifically on TikTok. Kind of what...
So not as much Nigella Lawson, Jamie Oliver, Naked
That'll
Chef.
come at the end.
I usually do.
In good time. But this episode was quite largely inspired by my book. I say it's like I wrote it. I didn't write it. I just love
Emily
it a lot.
wrote this book.
I did not.
Emily Whitehead
This was written by Asako
Butter.
Yazumi in like 2011. I love
By
it very
Emily
much.
Whitehead.
No. It's called Butter. It's the book I'm reading and I'm obsessed with it. And it really is a big explanation of the link between like food and sexuality and also food and gender.
Ooh.
And gender roles, which is kind of what got me onto this, because these two that we're going to start with, Cedric Lorenzen and Donut Daddy.
Are these
government name, I'm sure.
Yes.
These two gentlemen went quite viral last year. There's a lot of commentary, people doing a lot of different commentaries, basically kind of cackling at how aggressively sexual their content is. Just to get a bit of context for what we're looking at here, I'm going to show you one of Cedric's TikToks first.
Okay, so just warm me up.
Just to warm you up, which one should we start with? Which one catches your fancy?
So he's got a nice body.
Okay, no, we're going to look at this. Okay, look, there you go. Now you can...
You don't have to worry, bro.
Why don't I have to worry, bro?
So, you can see in these, So he's miming.
Like he's right. I don't.
A lot of sexual acts with the food as he's.
But he's right. I don't have to worry because that looks pretty mid in terms of food.
Yeah, I will say that one for sure is
like, good job making your own dough, but
he did spit on the sausage.
Yeah, and I'm like,
all right,
who is this for?
Before we cast judgment,
it's a little gay. Not to say that's not like. It's a little gay. It is
homoerotic, I will say.
It is quite homoerotic.
One of Donut Daddy's for reference.
Which everyone loves. Okay, so this is Donut Daddy.
Yeah.
With the egg.
So, as you can see, he's like...
I love that. I have such a thing. Oh, I have such a thing about hands. Oh my god, yes.
So... Oh god. I hate the eggs. I hate
egg
it when...
yolk I love.
No, I hate it.
I love like the little like gelatin pre-cum.
Gelatin?
Yeah.
No, I hate...
See, I like this a lot.
I don't like it. Oh.
Yeah, I couldn't care less what he's making.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I think it's...
It's like, how do you like your eggs? Fertilized.
Oh, I hate the diddling. I hate the diddling.
See, I have such a thing about hands. I really like...
Alright, so, just as a general list for those who are listening. So, these videos often involve these two gentlemen, making either... I would say they're generally either wearing no shirt, or if they're wearing a shirt, it's quite tight-fitted, to reveal their bulging biceps.
They have incredible bodies.
Yeah,
Their
body
bodies,
is tea.
The bodies are fantastic.
And they'll be making these
Hats off to them,
foods
because that's tough. It's tough to
be ripped.
It's tough. It's tough. It's hard to get jacked.
Yeah.
And, you know what? That's sexy too.
And they make really quite impressive. I mean, the one we should have said, but Cedric generally he does like a lot of like French patisserie.
Yeah.
They do a lot of like quite complicated. I mean, this guy was making like some kind of like egg-based dessert, but it's like mimicking an egg. It's made of chocolate or something. It looks like with like a mango puree. It often involves these gentlemen making sexual or mimicking sexual acts with the food. So with the case of, he's often like, he's like fingering the mango. He's making he's cutting the mango slit to make it resemble a vulva, if you will.
He's fully eating that mango-see. The mango-see, he's eating it out. And I like that.
So he's like kind of like sliding the hot dog into the bun as if it's a...
Oh, that's what that was.
Yeah. So,
no, these kind
of... People have been making commentary videos. This kind of peaked around last year. There were a lot of other commentary YouTubers that are kind of making, reactions because I mean, as you can see from my face, it makes a lot of people very uncomfortable. Like, if we go onto the comment section of this guy's video, most of the comments are like, why is he harassing the food? Okay, buddy, what the flip? Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
See, this is TikTok. I feel like Instagram...
I'm fasting and suddenly I'm not hungry anymore. What does your family think? There's a lot of, like...
People are so judgmental on TikTok.
Yeah,
People are
there's
so chaste. Like, this man is hot. He's eating fruit close up. I like that. Women are... I don't know. Like, women will be so ashamed to be like... Oh, this guy's fucking hot, and there's a shirtless dude, and he's like...
No, because you are not going on the right path. If you go on something... Because I've been on this...
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. All right? If it's blatantly horny, and there's a shirtless man, it's gross. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Right? I can't look away because it's too gross. But if it's like a court of thorns and roses... and someone's reading about a fairy who may or may not have had wild sex with another fairy, then you can be horny about it, right? Because it's twice removed. There's a degree of separation.
But so you think that...
And I feel like this
people feel more comfortable being horny about things that aren't real.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that this is where the idea of food porn, like food as porn, not just like the men making it or the women making it, but food porn... comes from as well, you know, this removed from sexuality way to explore one's own desires, right?
Yeah.
Like the way that, you know, the peak of the cream, how it like, you know, like flops over, you know what I mean? Or like stiff peaks. I don't know, I've got my mind on cream now.
Yeah.
But it's, I feel like that is a way for people to start exploring or explore their sexuality where they may be uncomfortable with looking at actual like bodies, right? The sensuality of food. Like there's something inherently pleasurable and, you know, and enjoyable about food. And I think that's very easy for people to accept. And I think if you're particularly chaste, right, or you're particularly self-conscious around your sexuality, then exploring food porn can be a very small way to dip your toe into expressing one's sexuality.
Have you masturbated to cooking videos before?
Yes.
Okay. I want to look next at where these guys started, because they did not set out to make this content.
Gotcha. So can I just ask? So you're proposing that this content is more of a shock value rather than...
I think so.
You think that this is more of a shock value...
Well, it works. Does it not work?
I think that it works either way, but I don't think that it's a shock value.
You think it's genuine?
What do you mean it's genuine?
Like, what do you mean when you say it's not shock value?
I think that there is an element of it being lewd and being shocking, but I don't think it's just shock value. And I think that, you know, if it was, then I think it wouldn't get the same engagement as it does. Although people on the surface or the top comments are like, why are you violating the food? Oh, I'm so above everything being sexy. This guy is fucking hot. This is a hot man.
Yeah.
And he's cooking beautiful food, right? Mm-hmm. And that, I think, is engaging in and of itself.
Yeah.
Right? So you're saying that this man or these men are popular because of their shocking behavior. And I'm saying that they are popular because they are unashamedly horny, and that allows the viewer to also be unashamedly horny, right? You join in the Dianastic, is that right? You're the Greek man. You join in the Dianastic kind of like horniness with the chef, right? Mm-hmm. You allow yourself to freely be like, this man is fucking hot. Let me watch him make more food and eat the mango like that, and he's got sexy hands.
If you want to go into it, what I will say is one of the things I noticed while researching for this is that they're more... So this was 2023 stuff. So 2023, 2024, which is what I would say is the peak of this kind of being a trending topic. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of slipped off now. And if you kind of look at their stuff now, I would say it is noticeably less horny.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So if we want to go...
Why do you think that is?
Well, should we look at it and then I'll
Sure, let's have a squiz. I'd love to hear your theory.
My theory. So if we go to Cedric, right, and we look at one of his most recent, it's still set, like if we look at this, right? it's still sexy, but he's not.
Stiff peaks. Nice.
No, but like, see, he's not. He likes, like, it's still sexy, but he's not
Yeah. His back's
jacking
amazing.
off the food in the same way he previously is. Right? I think there's one shot in here that's quite a bit, but it's noticeably less than. There's that, but it's okay, yeah, that's obviously quite a bit, but it's noticeably less intense than the ones that we were looking at the beginning, right?
I would say, yeah.
And it's the same for our other gentleman here, right? Like,
So this is a recent one?
this is his most recent one. Like, it's still horny.
It's like taro ice cream?
Ube.
Oh, yum. Gorgeous. Now, I feel like this guy is...
But it's still sexy, but this is toned down. This is toned down from the first one we were looking at. It's
Yeah.
more sexy and less it's less
I would say
graphic.
that this is more
It's less
sensual.
It's more sensual, it's
Definitely
less
more sensual.
Now, I would be interested in to know your thoughts of why do you think this has changed, because they got big from making these, I would say, like, these sharp, like, it maintains almost all of the points
Yeah.
that made their videos good in the first place. So the things that people try to do, the sharp cuts, the excellent cooking,
I feel like the editing is better than the cooking.
I would say the sharp editing, the lighting, the good cinematography, the hot guys. But
You say it so ashamedly, but it is why they're...
But they are a very attractive man. But the rapid shots, so that we saw in the first ones that I showed you of each of those creators, right? They would have a sudden shot of them, jacking off a hot
I
dog or
particularly like the
spitting.
one where it's like vertical and he's like got the stick blender. I like that. I think that was pretty sexy.
But it's like they're very like mimicking a very specific, essentially in a very explicit way. Like, it's specifically, the shot is designed.
Yeah, he's like holding
These
it like
graphic these are much more sensual, and it's a big change from what it was even a year ago. Now, I have some theories, and I'd be curious to see.
Please.
Rise of conservatism.
Is that the whole theory?
That's the theory.
Okay.
Also,
So you think people becoming more conservative?
I think people have become more conservative in the
Okay.
last year, I would say.
But I don't think that means like people are less gooners. You know what I mean?
That's true.
I feel
But
like just because you're more conservative.
It's also perhaps that these men want to be perceived more sexy, because I think that it might get old, because a lot of the comments on the ones from last year, if we compare the comments from last year are all like, I feel harassed, I'm being attacked. They're all like comments making fun of it, right? But these ones, sir, I'm in the middle seat on a fully packed flight. How do you make it so perfect and from scratch? Holy grail. Oh my, the caption is killing me. Sir, do you know how unhinged you're making me feel? Like, these are comments thirsting after this man.
Interesting. Interesting.
How did you know I started a soft food diet tomorrow? I forgot this man existed.
Soft
Is
food
this
diet.
Christian Grey?
What the fuck is a soft food diet?
I don't know. But it's like, these comments are directly thirsting after him, whereas the other ones were more like, well, I mean, and don't get me wrong, there's still comments being like, whoa, what's going on? But I would say the proportions have noticeably reduced.
Gotcha.
And it's possibly, the trend might be, because when you go massively viral for content that people are generally like having a little bit of a goof on you.
like a negative reaction.
Yeah.
You can go negative.
And I will say, some of the videos aren't explicitly going like, this guy's bad, like, but they are going like, whoa, like, this is a lot, right?
Yeah.
And that's going to get old for most people, I would say. Now, some people, obviously there are some creators that thrive off creating controversy, but...
Not controversy, but just like
just
bad
outrage.
stuff.
Outrage,
Like
right?
Jojo Siwa.
I would say no, but that's...
I feel like, Jojo Siwa is consistently in the spotlight because she's just
I would say creators who thrive off creating outrage, these guys might not be one of those people, and they might want to...
So you feel like they got famous because they were outrageous.
Yeah,
then
and
they
now it's
started
kind of
toning it
plateaued down a bit. Not plateaued,
So-
started to slope down a bit.
Yeah, and how is that tracked for engagement?
That's a great question, Samuel.
So-
this is why we have you here.
That's 11.9. So that's his highest. So
Where are you seeing 11?
11.9
Million, yeah.
views.
So it's staying consistently very high.
So what's the 11.9? Because that's the highest of all of them. That's his highest.
Let's have a look. Oh, he's gonna fuck the mango, I know it.
So this is the one where he really,
Yeah.
gorgeous. Yeah,
okay,
that's the one.
yeah,
That's
okay.
the shot.
So the more horny ones do seem to do better.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
because here's
But
the.
I'd say okay.
Oh, yeah,
I was gonna say something, but then I got
beautiful. So he put like extra passion fruit in there, so it's
oh,
extra
the flower.
squirty.
But okay, it is important to note as well, when we're talking about these guys,
Yeah.
like, this is so impressive.
Oh yeah, for sure.
What this man is
Beautiful.
making is so impressive.
Beautiful. We got the croquembouche there.
The other thing I wanted to mention that I noticed when I look at these,
Yeah.
pastry. Most of them, so I realized the first one we showed from Cedric was him doing a
Hot dog.
hot dog. But if we go to Cedric's actual page,
I feel like Cedric is more, dare I say, gay than
like, it
Donut
caters
Daddy.
more towards a queer male.
Towards a queer male audience.
Would you say so?
Yeah.
Because so he definitely has more savory dishes, but
So Donut Daddy he's like the pastry guy.
they're both kind of pastry guy. But Donut is more of a pastry guy. He does have some savory dishes that we can kind of see.
What is the significance of pastry?
To
Emily
me-
Whitehead, please let me know.
Okay, well, so one of the things I was doing was a comment that pastry is generally considered, pastry chefs is more of a women's position.
It's the pink ghetto of the kitchen,
As
as
it
it's
is
called.
known.
Yeah.
And that women often, when they are entering like the currently world, is kind of like a thing that they are sometimes regulated to.
Relegated.
That's the one. Thank you. To being in charge of dessert, rather than, obviously, like, and they go like not let near the main dish or whatever. And I will say this kind of ties back in more of like them doing gendered stuff. Cooking in itself is. Do you think that there is something to be said about how it is attractive that they are cooking in the first place, because it is
Yes.
it is very masculine men doing something that is not typically a masculine task.
I think that there is something sexual about domestic labor, and I think that Cedric, he's like cleaning a lot. Like he shows himself.
Yeah,
cleaning.
that's the one. So Cedric, I would say one of his like unique selling, his USP is that he is always cleaning, and I've kind of
His
highlighted
what?
his USP.
His unique selling point.
Yeah,
What's your USP?
I wear little
Thick
ties.
thighs.
That's my USP. But like every time there's a shot of him cooking, there'll be a comment. So I've kind of highlighted one of them was makes him more attractive when he washes the dishes.
Yeah.
Like he always, like when he has a shot of him wiping the counter, washing up after himself.
Yeah.
There will always be a comment after it, and those are often the ones that are more explicitly like shamelessly thirsting after it, because.
I'm surprised it's like all women on these comments.
I don't know whether there is a gendered thing about enjoying a pastry, but there is something that feels more feminine about, more feminine attracting about the creation of pastry rather than a savoury dish. And I don't want to be like, women love sugar, but I love sugar and I'm a woman. But there is something, like I will say it's
I
perhaps
like pickle
also...
the vegetable.
There is also something about like the delicateness that it requires,
Yes,
right? The
absolutely.
folding of those, like Donut Daddy, he made that little like
restraint
the restraint,
that it
right?
needs.
It is something that perhaps is more likely to attract like that. I feel like especially, you know, what audiences this kind of attracts is like the middle-aged mum buying the shirtless cowboy books at the grocery store. That kind of audience, I feel like, because you know they're often people doing a lot of domestic labor. Having
Yeah,
a
I
very
guess.
attractive man, there is something like in the reduction of labor of it all
Yeah.
that might make it particularly attractive.
For sure.
With your permission,
Yes.
I thought we could move on to the other side of the gender spectrum, as in, so the women, the horny chefs,
Oh,
women,
please.
and kind of compare how that goes. So this woman, Natalie Espina, I think is how it's pronounced, was the first kind of woman I found. So I wanted to.
Oh, so I haven't seen this.
No,
lady.
I hadn't seen her before this, but I wanted to get your thoughts on her.
Your
Thoughts on her.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay. Got our plantains and our cinnamon. So, this is not very horny. I can see some missed opportunities here.
Yeah. It's very different, though. It's very different.
Yeah. So is she cooking in heels?
Yes.
That's a turn off. One.
Not for many people, it's not. That looks yummy.
Does.
I should make that. But she's in a very beautiful outfit. She's a very beautiful woman. And she is, I would say, this is very much more in that area of sensual rather than overtly sexual.
I wouldn't say this is sensual. I would say this is flirtatious.
It's flirtatious. Okay.
Yeah. This is different. This is different to sensual.
Now, I want to know what the comments are. These comments are all male, I'm noticing.
Okay, let's have a look. What is some
So
of
we've
these?
got, someone said these are great cooking videos. I watched this 6 times and I haven't seen her cooking yet. Am I missing something? Not sure how to cut and cook with just the left hand because the right hand is busy.
Okay.
My wife
typical
also
stuff.
cooked dressing like this. We always eating late. It's a crime to be that amazingly beautiful and can cook. So these comments are all very explicit, like thirsting after this woman.
Yeah, gotcha.
And she's a gorgeous woman. There's something very flirtatious, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say this video is on the same level. As,
No, definitely not. But there's something. So when I was looking at her content, in
But it's
general,
not even that sexual. You know what I mean?
it's sexy. She has a beautiful dress. She ties her little apron up. She has a little wink. Hairography is hairographying. She has her perfectly done nails.
Hairography. Mm-hmm. That's a new one for me.
No, really? That's because you don't have hair. Little heels. Anyway, the thing I wanted to point out was, in contrast, again, to these two gentlemen,
Yeah.
who, when we go to their profiles, it's all close-ups of the food as the thumbnails.
Yeah.
For her, they're all of her, right? It's very much like she is the like with these. I feel like it comes back to the food is the product, not them. But for her, it feels like she's marketing. She is the product,
and the food is not as good.
The food is less advanced. I will also say they are all in studios. She's in like her own little home kitchen as well.
Yeah. So the production isn't.
The production is different, but I wonder,
crazy.
Do you have thoughts on what might, like, why these differences might exist if we think about the two different audiences of these two?
So yeah, absolutely, and I think that the comment section says a huge amount here.
Oh yeah, because no one's going, "Ma'am, I'm just trying to eat" in her comment section. Now, obviously, hers is less visceral than some of the other ones, but
I feel like here's the thing: if you're gonna, not to harp on too much about differences in gender, but I feel like.
Well, it's important.
I think that comparing and contrasting male and female, TikTok chefs, it's going to bring up a gender debate, right? And it's not that it's a debate, but like a contrast in terms of how people express their sexuality and where people draw the lines. And I feel as though the TikTok male chefs embody the comment section of the female chefs, if that makes sense.
Oh, can you elaborate? That's interesting.
Absolutely. So even though Natalie's videos are not as sexy, right? She's not in a bikini, like it's not.
She's not jacking off a mango.
Exactly, and she's not. Yeah, and she's not. There's a million things that she could be doing to make it more sexual, but she's gotten she's gotten a lot of engagement by being flirtatious, right? And I think that has garnered an audience, a male audience, who are then very unashamedly being like, "Oh, how am I supposed to watch this video with only one hand?" Right?
Yeah.
And I think that comes back to the way that men and women express sexuality online.
Yeah.
And
it's much more aggressive. Men are much more aggressive.
Absolutely. Men are much. I wouldn't say. I think it's less about the aggression, and I think that it's men.
I would say it's
carry much less shame around expressing their sexuality in a more direct way.
Women, because I will know a lot of the comments kind of goofing a bit at our two gentlemen earlier.
Yeah.
From male profiles.
Yeah.
A lot of people kind of like, and it's those women as well, but men seem comfortable like goofing.
Yeah.
On other dudes.
I think that it just shows, and I think that is again, what men and women each think are sexy, right? So women think that maybe being flirtatious is sexy, and men think, you know, with my shirt off,
Fingering an
jacking
egg
off,
yolk.
yeah, fingering an egg yolk, that's sexy, right? And it's a completely different. It's a binary opposite of what is perceived to be sexy and sexual in the first place.
Yeah.
What I do think that the male chefs have is a little bit of nuance around sensuality with a couple of their videos. Like there is an understanding of the inherent sexuality of the food.
Yeah.
Like, there is like close-ups of how the biscuit breaks.
What I would say,
you know?
leading off from that,
Yeah,
is that for Natalie, for example, it's again, it's going back to like what is the product of the video.
Yes.
And for I think it's even more so that act of domesticity
Yes,
is
absolutely.
the product rather
Yeah.
than what the actual outcome is, because she barely has a final shot of the food. Those like breaking, like there's a little bit of that, but the act of like looking attractive while performing this labor
Yes.
feels like it, like that domestic is even more so part of it, and it's
Yeah.
more so about this I kind of going on those like very much like she is the product and not the outcome.
And because she's the product, I feel like, you know, it's less about, the comments are much less about the food.
The comments might be like, oh, I want someone to make me dinner, but it's not about that
The
looks
food
tasty.
itself.
It's like the abstract idea of being able of consumption.
Yeah.
I want to contrast perhaps.
Yeah.
To, this is one of your faves, Susie Vidal, I think her name is.
Is this the
This
Only
is
Pans
Only
lady?
Pans.
Because I feel like this is
Very
my
different.
recommendation, because this is more flirtatious.
This one might get a little messy. Welcome back to my OnlyPans. I hope you're hungry because today we're making elote. Definitely too big for me, but I'm gonna put some oil on it anyways.
I don't know if she's like a chef, but she looks like a great cook.
She's an excellent cook.
Yeah,
Oh,
gorgeous.
you make that for me sometime.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
I'll make it
Best
shirtless.
corn ever. Babe, I told you we were getting messy today. Surprise!
Yeah,
Okay, so I would say, so for her,
yeah,
she has a lot of, the thing that's interesting
yeah.
is for Susie, she has a lot of the same a lot of the same points are there that are in Donut Daddy and Lorenzo.
Okay.
Lorenzo, in that she does the same thing, like, you know, when she like is like miming like with the corn, she like is, but it's done in a much more playful and tongue-in-cheek way, like much more like evidently tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah.
Like she really leans into the comedy side of like
for sure.
the explicit. So like it's like the puns, like horngry, only pans.
Yeah.
She very much leans into the comedy. It's more in like a cheeky way rather than a, I would say, aggressively sexual way, even though she uses some of those same things, which kind of made me think maybe the excessive sexuality of our first two gentlemen was perhaps partially, at least in part, designed to be some kind of joke. Do you think it's because not joke, but I don't think it's there. I don't think like when it's the things like that kind of make me go whoa, things like when he like fingers the mango or when he spits or he does, I don't know if that's meant to be sexy.
It's just supposed to be eye-catching.
Yeah,
or
and that
attention-grabbing.
kind of makes me think more about that is not what is.
I wonder if she's Canadian, because there's a Canadian grape varietal called Vidal. It's
maybe she's
it's very cold resistant.
But again, I will say,
Canadian ice wine.
her again, it's not the food that's the thumbnail, it's her again.
Yeah.
But in a completely different way
Yeah.
to Natalie. It's like her, it's very much, it's a close up on her face, not her as like a full person. So it's kind
Yeah.
of like the idea, she is still the product. And I don't mean this in like a, she is self-objectifying necessarily. Like it's to be an influencer is to self-objectify.
Yeah.
Like doing this right now, like we are the product, you know?
Objectify us.
But like to present yourself on social media in this way is in itself anything. But very like she has the occasional one where there's a bread break, but most of the time it's on her an action that she's doing. It's
I feel
on
like the thumbnail matters less though, right? Or is that a big thing?
I think it's always important. It always shows, because you pick your thumbnail. It's always showing like what is the thing that they want people to be drawn to when they click on it,
or what they think is the thing that's
what they
be
think
more
is the draw.
attention-grabbing.
And it's her face, and it's often her face doing something expressive. It's her maybe like in a more impromptu, like a moment. It's not as it's supposed to be. I think more about it's to appear less performative, perhaps.
Let's go to the comments. That's what I want to.
That's a great point, Samuel. The Nacho Libre reference. Can't decide what looks better, the elote or the chef.
Okay.
I'm getting this framed. A lot of them are questions about the food and about saying it's funny.
Yeah.
You are hilarious. Your posts always make me smile, and I love trying to replicate the food. What spices are those? Like a lot of, surprisingly, these are way more about the food.
Yeah, and there's a lot more women commenting on this.
You know, these maybe a lot of these are, babe. I can't even handle all the innuendos anymore. Susie makes everything look so good. Killed it, babe. Like, I think a lot of them are like
That's
playing
really
along
funny.
with her.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really funny, and I think that's really good.
Which is very interesting, because I'd say all of these people that we're looking at all incorporate sexuality into their cooking videos.
Absolutely.
The sexuality is an integral part of it, but they all do it in a very different way. And I think it's part of it's, you know, based on like gender things. I kind of want to...
I think that maybe her owning the sexiness of it, she's like, I'm feeling hungry, right?
Yeah.
I think that kind of takes a little bit of power back, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know? Like, in the other one, what was her name? I'm so sorry. Natalie. She doesn't speak at all.
She doesn't speak. That's a great
She doesn't
point.
speak at all.
I wonder
right?
if that's part of the draw for these men as well.
And that's the thing, right? She doesn't speak
She just
at
looks...
all.
And she looks flawless.
Oh,
She's flawless. Her dress is perfectly fitting. She does not stumble on those heels. Her hair is perfect. Her makeup is done perfect. And she doesn't speak. And she just makes the food.
Yeah. And I think that is the fantasy that's being played out here, right?
It's kind of being marketed.
Yes. It's her. She looks great. She's going to make you some food. And then who knows what's going to happen. But, like, that's the...
We're going to be late to dinner, as that weird old man said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she doesn't speak at all. And I don't know. For me, it doesn't really do it for me. And I think that looking at engagement, it doesn't do it for people. Do it for a lot of people either.
No, she has great engagement. What do you mean? It seems to be doing it for people.
Well,
all
she
the
has...
comments are...
Well, no. Of all of the chefs that we've seen so far, she has the least engagement.
Oh, I didn't check that. But she
That's
is the
that's
smallest creator, that is true.
She is the smallest creator.
But all her comments are much more hegemonic comments. Like they're more... They all follow the same pattern, whereas there's more diversity of comments for the other ones.
Yeah. And I think that's because there's more... So I feel like Susie talks the most. Because
none of them
the men
talk.
don't talk either.
That's an excellent point, Samuel.
Yeah. That's why I wanted to talk about Susie. That's my recommendation.
I do love Susie.
Yeah. And I think that she becomes more of a person.
Yeah.
She becomes more of a person and she becomes more likable as a person. Because, one, she acknowledges that she also has feelings too. She takes back a portion of that, you know, sexiness. And two, it's more of a playful, fun relationship rather than a product that you're consuming, right? And I think that and because Susie is the largest of those creators,
She?
Yes, I think
she. Good on you.
and I think that has given her diversity.
Good on Susie.
Which is what the other content creators have lacked. And then for it's so bad that I keep forgetting her name. It's just
Natalie.
I'm so sorry. You could edit me to make me look good.
You're bad with women's names today.
I'm sorry. I'm not good with names. I'm not a good name.
Especially women's names.
Well,
Can you name the two men that we've talked about in this video?
No.
Oh really? Oh okay. I thought I was gonna get you with that one.
They're both hot. One of them is like a pastry.
You're like
the other one's like gay.
Hot one, pastry one, and one that is. I think it's just gay because you fancy him. I think that's why you're perceiving. I'm gonna be honest. I think you are perceiving Lorenzen.
So you can't remember him either.
But it's Cedric. Cedric, you are I think because you are attractive. Because I remember the first time I showed you Donut Daddy's content.
Yeah.
What do you remember what you said?
Oh yeah, I said he's got a weird face.
You're like, it's true about his face.
Yeah.
Which is so.
I don't like Lorenzen's hat though. That's the.
If you're watching, I think you have a wonderful face, Mr. Daddy. I think
Mr. Daddy.
if
I'm
which
just
I assume
jealous.
is a government name, but
Yeah.
I think you look beautiful.
Yeah.
You're
a good-looking dude.
And I'm
Got
sorry that
beautiful
Sam doesn't
forearms.
want to smash, but he is not
You'd be
the
a great rock
harbinger
climber.
of
I would watch you rock climb.
what is attractive. Okay.
Just switch to rock climb.
To move on, to kind of go into our third act of this episode, I want to talk about Nigella Lawson.
Okay.
That's what I want to do.
I like Nigella.
I've got a quote to read for you about Nigella. This was from an article written by Jess Hardiman. I just thought it was kind of, yeah, I know.
Woman after my...
I don't know if
after
it's
my
a
own
woman.
heart.
It might not be a woman. I don't know the gender of this person.
Her last name is Hardy, man.
There.
Her name is Jess.
Jess can be a boy's name.
Jess short for what?
Jess from Gilmore Girls?
That's a woman.
Jess from Gilmore Girls is not a woman.
Yeah, that's a woman.
No, it's not.
It's from the show called Gilmore Girls.
Are you stupid?
Surely they're all women.
Jess, Gilmore Girls. They quote,
You brought me on this podcast.
and that was a mistake I won't be making again. Don't worry. It seems bizarre then that when many speak of Nigella Lawson, the woman whose name is practically synonymous with joyful eating, they speak not of pleasure but of sex. She may hum and moan and smack her lips, but so do we, because this is what humans do as they eat. I make these noises regularly, and I'm sorry to say it, but you do as well. Over in the stage-cheery world of another program, Jamie Oliver will follow suit, giving a blokey wink to the camera before telling the viewer to get your chops around this. Ainsley Harriott swoons and flirts flamboyantly around his kitchen, while James Martin makes satisfied guttural noises as he pulls out his towering Yorkshire pudding from the oven.
Fuck yeah.
Gordon Ramsay bounces up and down like he's genuinely about to jizz his pants.
Well, aren't we all?
Viewers optimistically assume Lawson is attempting to seduce him, but in reality she is just doing precisely what the others are, taking pleasure in her creations, just like we do. By reducing her words to sexual foreplay, we're denying Lawson not only of her genuine linguistic intellect, but also her dual passions for language and food, in turn also dismissing a degree in medieval and modern languages from Oxford University and a background in literary journalism. This is to say, do you have any thoughts on this initially?
This did not go in the direction that I was expecting it to, but yes, please continue.
Because I was in my research for this, I would say Nigella Lawson is in many ways one of the OG horny chefs of the modern era, perhaps.
Known as a horny chef, yes.
She is known as a horny chef. However, is this misogyny?
Well, Julia Child was never a horny chef.
Julia Child was a elderly woman.
Elderly people can be horny.
But they're not. But they are often not sexualized. Elderly women often are not sexualized in the same way that women.
I'm partial to an older woman.
Yeah, but I feel like you're not. You're not the patriarchy, Sam.
Okay,
you're partial to a lot of things.
I understand that. I disagree. I think that look, let's be real. All right,
Let's be real.
Let's be real. When Jamie Oliver puts out, a thing called The Naked Chef. Mm-hmm. That is not just him doing his job. That is being horny, right?
I would say, I think that's a bad take. All of them, I will say all of these, like the original, like media chefs, right?
Yeah.
Which are not TikTok, because before TikTok chefs, before social media influencer chefs, we had TV chefs. We had celebrity chefs. We had Gordon Ramsay.
Gordon Ramsay does. No. I think this is a bad take, honestly.
But I think they all incorporate sexuality, and many of them.
I disagree. Gordon Ramsay is very serious. I don't think Gordon is sexual.
You're on first name basis.
Yeah.
You don't think he looks like he's genuinely about to jizz his pants?
No, I do not, and
Okay.
I don't think that he over sexualizes himself.
I
don't think that
would agree.
Julia Child overly sexualizes herself. I don't think that Maggie Beer overly sexualizes herself.
You know so many celebrity chefs. This is really sweet.
I don't think... I know many celebrity chefs. In fact, I know some... And the thing is...
Many personally.
Yeah.
Doesn't Jamie Oliver follow you on Instagram?
Yeah, but it's a whole thing. So it's like... Let's call a spade a spade. There are series where Nigella Lawson is being sexual, right? And is being flirtatious.
Yeah.
Not in the same way as Natalie from TikTok was flirtatious, but
from TikTok.
in a similar way as to the OnlyPans lady was being,
that's very true.
using
Is
her
Susie the
playful-
modern day Nigella Lawson?
Yes, and I think that I think that she's a little less subtle, but I think that there are definite sexual references, and that's okay. You don't need to, I don't think you need to intellectualize women's sexuality, right? To this degree as this take has
You
done.
know what? That's an excellent point, Sam.
Thank you.
I would say going into that, I wanted to, like, as our last kind of finalization, to be on this overall, like, the ethics of sexuality.
Yeah, for
especially
sure.
in our media consumption, particularly when it is surrounding something that is typically considered as mundane as food. It is very pertinent that it is called food porn and not food art or food videos. Like, there isn't, I feel like the fact that this terminology is, like, there is almost like a shameful aspect inherently tied into...
Oh, for sure. Porn is shameful. Women watching porn is shameful. Men watching porn is shameful.
Now, obviously, like what we've looked at in all of these, there is a certain level of discomfort that is often expressed by people who are either not taking sexual gratification from this or are not comfortable taking sexual gratification from this.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. Like, so for example, I saw this comment on literally someone else's video, was doing like a parody of Cedric and Donut Daddy,
Yeah.
Mr. Daddy, saying, to be honest, the guys cooking baking videos give me the absolute ick. You just know they're absolutely crap in real life and have no clue what they're doing really. Which I thought was a very interesting comment because
Well,
they obviously know what they're doing. Like, you can say you don't like them, but let's be so fucking for real.
Let's be honest. They know what they're doing in terms of marketing. They know what they're doing in terms of engagement. You have chosen to engage on this post.
Yeah.
Right? That is a sign of what they know that they know what they're doing. Because at the end of the day, what they're doing is not sex. What they're doing is not cooking. What they're doing is creating an engaging platform, right? They're using their body, they're using their, cooking abilities, and they're using their editing and all of these things, right? So what they're really doing is they're trying to get you to engage, right? And they are extremely engaging, and they do know what they're doing in terms of that.
Yeah.
And I don't think that, that level of, portrayed hypersexuality translates to real life.
Yeah.
And I think that...
Well, yeah, if you could made me dinner and you spat in my food, I'd be a little offended. I don't think I'd be aroused.
Only one way to find out.
Well, that's for the Patreon members.
Sponsor.
Not
Okay,
yet.
so let's take this
Got
person's son, right? That was their comment, right? That was the person's name on the thing?
Son, yeah.
Son was there. Okay. So I think that there is an element of son, let's say that, look, this person obviously is uncomfortable viewing this sexual content, but has viewed it anyway. And now that they have commented on this, saying with the judgment, right? They're passing judgment down on this piece of media.
Yeah.
Now they can engage with this sexual content freely without from a different lens. Because you're still, consuming subconsciously, right? You're subconsciously consuming this sexual content, right? Which on a primal level might be quite appealing. But because on the surface you are judging, you are casting this person down, and it's giving you the ick, right?
Yeah.
Is now that allows you to remove yourself from the equation, right? It allows you to remove yourself from your own sexual desire, being this kind of like moral, pristine, angelic figure who is casting judgment upon these horny TikTok chefs.
Like, it is
But at the same time, you are still engaging with it because deep down, you want his gorgeous hands to be on you. And that's that's what it is.
And that's on period.
And that's on period.
I think you ended it on a great note, though.
Thank you.
You criticize, but in the criticization, you are but another consumer.
You are but another consumer because deep down, these guys are hot, and that stick blender can go down south.
Can go in this bussy.
In this.
And with that, I think that brings us to the end of the
That
episode.
brings us to the end. I've had such a fun
and
time.
I'm so glad I've had fun.
Yeah.
I'd love you to come back again.
I'm so surprised by that.
I do, not in my house though.
Okay.
I won't
Definitely
let
my
you.
sister's bedroom.
She does not know I filmed these, so.
Okay.
And she doesn't live it, so she'll never know. She
never
might
know.
watch these, I actually don't know. But with that does conclude this week's episode of Footnotes. Before we go, Sam, is there anything you'd like to shout out? Anything you want to plug?
Shout out being yourself, and shout out being unashamedly horny. Don't need to. Just get in touch with your own horniness. Don't need to.
I meant like your Instagram or something, but that's fine.
Oh,
That's
fuck
fine.
no. Okay.
Or like, I don't know, the restaurant you work at.
No, it's fine.
Shout out Andy.
Shout out Andy.
Do you think Andy would listen to this?
Oh, for
Will
sure.
you send this to Andy?
Yeah, I'll send this to Andy.
Yes, Andy, if you're watching, I love you. I love you, Andy. You should hire me at Clam Bar. I want to annoy Sam more at work, and I need a job. With that, we're going to bring it to the end of this week's episode. If you enjoyed, please give us a rating and give us a follow on whatever platform you're listening to this on. Maybe leave a comment if you're listening to something that accepts comments. Let me know if you liked having a guest on, if you'd like to see Sam again, or if you want someone who's not a massive twat. Let me know. I do have him trapped in my basement, so he is not
I'm just
going
ashamed there
anywhere.
to give takes. And remember, if you comment bad things, that just means that you like us.
That just means you fancy us.
That just means that you think we're
That you think we're cute.
Yeah.
And let me know the secret question for this week. What your thoughts on horny chefs are in general, and also, fuck, marry, kill. Cedric, Donut Daddy, Nigella.
Ooh.
Go.
Marrying Nigella, killing Donut Daddy, and fucking Cedric.
You would fuck Cedric. Cedric.
Either I'm marrying him or I'm fucking him.
Cedric,
I can't
DM
kill
us
him.
if you want Sam's number.
It's 04.
With that, my name's Emily.
And I'm Sam.
Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time.
Mwah. Chat, I do not have a boner.